Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Sam here, United People's TV. Newish surroundings. But today, we've gone a little bit old school. We've got the original studio back before the new studio gets launched tomorrow. Can you hear me? I can see you're all tuning in. I can see the live chat flying in. So I think we've got it working. It's been a busy weekend in United People's TV towers. The new studio is not quite finished yet. So this will be the look for today, and tomorrow we should be getting the brand new full United People's TV studios. So it is OG this morning. I know. All right. You had to bring it back, right? It felt appropriate to bring it back anyway. One more time before we launch into the proper new school. It's going to be a busy show. The transfer window opened yesterday, but it's only a temporary transfer window for like 10 days before the Club World Cup. We'll speak about Cunha being... It wasn't even made official yesterday. The deal was made official, but there's no pictures of Cunha. So anyway, so it's kind of like the agreement is official, but we haven't seen him in a United shirt yet. We'll also speak about Bruno and Mbeumo. We'll speak about Garnacho, Sancho, Bruno. Of course, you can't ignore the Bruno stuff now, right? It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one. Let me see who's here from Imran. He's saying nothing beats this studio. This really does take me back, man. This really takes me back years and years and years. This studio look. Anybody who's a proper OG on the channel will remember this. Studio flashbacks this morning. Chris, good morning to you. Thank you for gifting a membership. Shax, good morning to you. Thanks for gifting 5. And who's here? Stephanie, you're here. Carl, you're here. Alex, you're here. Good morning to all the mods. We've got Keith, Jordan, Philip. We've got Asan. We've got Rapid, JC. Lots of new faces. Lots of regular faces. And it should be a cracking show. As always, please do get involved in the chat. I'll answer as many of your comments as I possibly can. But yeah, it does feel nice. OG studio, and I'll tell you what, I think you're going to love this studio. Yeah, if you don't, you can just go somewhere else. No, you will. You will. I did love this studio, to be fair. You know what I should have done is actually just built this room. You know how mad that would have been? That would have been quite fun. Manless saying this studio brings back memories. My phone got confiscated one time watching Sam live back in high school. That's a pretty cool story. Anybody got any funny stories about watching United People's TV and where you watched it? That could be a cool little Q&A to do. Right. Let's get cracking with today's show. And I want to start with this, right? Because I'm sure we all watched this at the weekend. That was... I think it was a record European final, wasn't it? 5-0. I don't think any club's ever won by more than 4 goals. Is that what it was? You're looking at Doué. I think we were linked with Doué last summer. I think we're actually in talks with his agents and his representatives. Man, the PSG get that one right. You know. I think Kvaratskhelia, doesn't he win? He gets a medal for the Serie A title. Did they win the Coppa Italia as well? I can't remember. The Champions League. Oh no, I don't think they won Coppa Italia. I think he got a treble at PSG and the Scudetto as well. That's some season for Kvaratskhelia. Really is some season there. He is some player. 2 goals from him, but it was just an absolute demolition job. It really was. I mean, you know what's it? Look, I suppose the semi-final against Barca was like, it's probably one of the best, let's be honest, probably one of the best semi-finals you ever watched in the Champions League. But could you imagine watching that final against Barca against that PSG team? Would have been an absolute blast. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Kvaratskhelia won 4. Again, what a player. Incredible that Napoli won the title after selling him and they're losing Osimhen in the summer. I think it was Osimhen in the summer. We'll speak about Osimhen in a little bit. But just fair play. We are some distance off that. Right? And I'm going to ask you a question down here. Who's that sent a super chat? Bizmeister. You sent a super chat, but you didn't say anything, so I'll keep an eye out there. Why do you think the number 47 is important? If anybody can get this, then fair play. Because it is very random. But it's got something to do with United. All right? What do you think it is? I'll have a look at what you're saying in it. Hitman 47? I used to love the old Hitman games. Haven't played any of them for a long, long time. But like the original Hitman games were class. They were really hard, though. Right, let me see what you're saying in the chat. Who's replacing Bruno? We'll speak about Bruno in a bit. Good morning to you, Al Nathan. I'm Potato, 47 years old. It's a cracking age. It's a great age. Years for us to win the league. 47 trophies in England. Nope. That's how many goals we scored last season. Nope. It's not my age either. Less than that, right? It's 47 days until we have to watch Manchester United play again, all right? 47 days. Now, if that doesn't put a smile on your face, I don't know what will, because it put a smile on my face. We played on Friday, and it was very much turning out to be a very similar game to the first one. Then Chido said no. Chido came on. He came on in the second half, bagged 2 goals. Heaven got the third. United won 3-1, but it's 47 days now until we need to watch United against Leeds. So just enjoy yourself, all right? A month and a half of bliss, because it was grim this season. It was so grim. Even watching those postseason games was like, so grim, man. The first one, I can't remember who we played now. AC and All-Stars. Anyway, 47 days, but this is the class photo. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the second half against Hong Kong, I'll be honest. Chido scoring 2, both of them really good goals. The first one was like a nice touch, turn, left foot rifled into the bottom corner. Second one was just a really nice glancing header. And that photo there, you got Chido, who's 17. You know what's hilarious about that photo? Ahmad's the senior one. Ahmad's the one where you look, there's a little bit of maturity there. No, man, Ahmad's just a little kid. Ahmad's 22, Dorgu's 20, Heaven is 18, and Chido, I think, is 17. It just made me laugh. Look, the postseason tour was exactly like the season. You kind of, even though United won, you feel like they made hard work of it, right? It played out exactly as it was like 2 extra games of the season. Yeah, Dorgu's smile there is cute as hell. He's just sitting there like a fanboy. It's funny, man. Amdad, very nice, Amma. I need to call you Amant. Client, thank you for gifting 10 memberships down there to everybody. I'll say it one more time. Like, it's cool to have the OG studio. I cannot wait. Fingers crossed, I'll be able to show it to you tomorrow. I had to buy some new equipment that didn't quite work. So basically, the setup I had in my previous temporary studio and the one before, that equipment didn't completely work in this environment because it's a much bigger place. So we had to get something new. Going to be fitting it later today. I'll do the live show, then we'll do the recorded video for lunchtime, and then we'll get cracking. And fingers crossed tomorrow morning. Now here's what I want to be doing, right? Tomorrow morning, we should be launching a new studio, a brand new thumbnail template, the new and improved United People's TV transfer whiteboards, maybe a slight change on the actual look of the live shows, and also a new look, fingers crossed, for the recorded videos at lunchtime tomorrow. So tomorrow could well be like a new version of United People's TV, if you called it that. And let's get cracking with today's show properly, and let's speak about the good news. I was going to do a video yesterday, but I thought, well, actually, they've not. I don't think I can do a whole video on United announcing the Cunha agreement. If they had unveiled Cunha and he was there in a United shirt, it was Cunha's first interview, I probably would have done a video yesterday. But I don't think it was worth it. I think we could save the conversation for today. Now, let's have the conversation. United yesterday made this announcement. United agrees a deal to sign Matheus Cunha. United has reached an agreement with Wolves for the signing of Matheus Cunha. His signing is subject to visa and registration. And I believe he now goes out on international duty. And then after that, he'll come back to United and we'll get the Cunha photos of him with the United shirt. There's no confirmation of his number yet. I know there's been some reports and suggestions that he'll get the number 10. We don't know what's going on with Marcus Rashford right now. But I'm excited about it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll go and read out some of your chats. Mania, thank you for gifting 5 memberships as well. I've been saying since Herrera was here that we needed players like him. Hey, look, I've done 2 higher quality videos on Cunha. One was the fact that I think United need more signings like Cunha, right? I said we need more villains. And that's kind of... It's not necessarily that he's going to be the villain. He's not going to be the Joker of United. But the reason I'm saying more villains is we need more players that can absorb the fact that United are just so despised. Like we really are. Like I know sometimes you can say things with a bit of hyperbole, and it's all kind of part and parcel of just being a football fan and the tribalism of it. But United truly are hated, adored, but never ignored. That is Man United. Because we've ruined so many childhoods for 20 years, everybody loves how crap we are. And any mistake will be like blown up to the nth degree. So we need players who can take on that responsibility, that pressure of knowing that if you fail, how bad it's going to be. But if you succeed, how big it will be. We need more players like that. And it strikes me that Cunha is one of those. Also strikes me as he will be a shithouse at the right time. We need those players. We need players that use being hated as energy and fuel rather than fear and burden, which is exactly what it has been at United for a long old time. Let me see what you're saying in the chat. Cunha and Mbeumo and Xerxes would be great. Well, I'll tell you what my lunchtime video today will be, everyone. My lunchtime video will be, I'm going to do my dream summer window. We do it every summer. Just do it once. I'm going to show you all the signings that I think that we should make, all the sales that we should make, and how much it will cost us. And every time I do this, I'm like, it's so easy. It's so logical. It never works out. I don't know how accurate I've ever been before, but I do one every single time. Who was on my dream list last summer? Can't remember. I'll do that at the start of this video. Frank, thank you for gifting 10 memberships as well. Russell, you're saying we need to really consider the Bruno transfer. That money could really help us out. We'll speak about Bruno soon. But Cunha is in to start the window. And it has to be the start. My video that went out on Saturday, I ran through the list. I ran through the list of strikers that I thought were conceivable. Not all of them are conceivable, I'll be totally honest. I don't think that the finances of the Osimhen deal stack up unless maybe that Højlund and Napoli situation comes to fruition. If there's a chance that Napoli actually do genuinely want Højlund, then that can be involved in the negotiations. And maybe the Garnacho situation could be involved in the negotiations. I don't know. But I ran through 7 strikers. 3 of them there. You've got Gyökeres, you've got Osimhen, you've got Mateta, and there were some other ones I mentioned too. If you want to, make sure you check that out. But this is the man I sort of want to have a little bit of brief conversation. As it stands, and I'll have the whiteboard ready for tomorrow, it feels like Mbeumo is a player that we are getting linked with the most. And from some decent sources too. Everybody let me know in the comments what you think United's next move will be. Because there's going to be more moves this window. Of course, we need some activity with sales, and I'll speak about sales next. And I think that's a pretty fair comment there, saying Cunha is a draw for further signings. I think that would be a fair point. I would probably counter that by saying, well, that kind of would get balanced out if United were to sell Bruno Fernandes. Because while the draw of Cunha is a draw, selling your best player and your captain will make people go, not sure. Not sure. Caleb, you think that a striker will be next? It feels like I've seen a lot more noise around a second number 10 than I have around a striker. Siraj saying we should go for Mbeumo straight away, get this deal done. And the reason I've got this photo up here, like following on from that, is I don't know whether the same situation would happen again, but I think there's a threat of it. So I agree with Siraj down there saying United have got to move fast. Right, Liam Delap. I think Chelsea are going to announce him today. We were in for Liam Delap. We wanted Liam Delap. Made that abundantly clear. We moved fast. We agreed the 30 million. I think we agreed a contract or personal terms with Liam Delap's representatives behind the scene. It was down to his choice. He chose Chelsea. He probably wanted Club World Cup football. He wanted the Champions League next season. He wanted Chelsea. Right, fine. Okay, fair enough. That's just kind of the position of where United are right now and Chelsea. And that's why I agree that United, I think, are going to have to move fast with Mbeumo, because there is a possibility that the same thing happens with Newcastle. And the same thing happens with Mbeumo. If you're looking at that Newcastle team, Mbeumo fits like an absolute glove. Perfect. Like an absolutely explosive, transitional, fast, goal-scoring threat on the right-hand side would really fit. Who have they been playing there this season? Is it Jacob Murphy? Can't remember who else. And Newcastle have got Champions League football. So I think United are going to have to move fast. I think if we dilly-dally with Mbeumo, I don't think United get him. Let's find out what happens this week. Charlie, you're saying that Arsenal are in a race for Mbeumo. I don't know. I haven't seen too many other clubs linked with him. Yes, Stu, I think he'd be a perfect fit in the right number 10 position. I think Cunha will be on the left and Mbeumo on the right. And I think I've said this a few times now. I think it's just the fact that I didn't watch Mbeumo enough. Now that I'm doing far more research, looking back at what he did last season, I can see and I can understand exactly how he will be a good fit. Let me go and read a few of your comments out. Kagotso saying, if we get Osimhen after losing out to Chelsea for the lap, it wouldn't be a bad recovery. I just think the wages make it an impasse at this point. I think if Osimhen was to move to the Premier League, he'd have to take a massive pay cut, obviously, compared to what you get in Saudi. I'm not sure he was willing to do that. Well, when is the Diego Leon update video? That's a good point. I'll get that back in the schedule for this week. We were writing out the schedule earlier. Frank saying, Sam, do you think if Rasmus ends up staying and we don't find another striker next season, he could improve with having two number 10s, Cunha and Mbeumo? Now, I've already thought that. I might do a video on it later, but I think United will go for a striker. If they don't, and we sign Mbeumo and Cunha, do I think our attack's in a better position? Yeah, I do, but I do think they'll go for a striker. Alex, you're getting your own dream window in there. Mbeumo, Schick, Edison, Roger F. Who's he? Fernandes? Is that the right wing back? He is. And Garcia. We'll find out. I'll give you mine later. Realistically, who is on the market to replace Bruno? Lang, there is nobody to replace Bruno. It's just not possible. If Bruno leaves, and we'll speak about Bruno soon, there's no point looking at a replacement because it doesn't exist. It's about how you would spend the money that you gain from Bruno, not how you would replace Bruno, because it's not possible. I'm Potato saying, did Mbeumo not play up front for Brentford when Tony got bland? That's when I first took notice of him. Was it Visser who's played through the middle more for them? I don't quite know exactly. Either way, as it stands, I would say that Mbeumo seems like that's where United's focus is going to be next. Now, we need a striker. We need a central midfielder. I think we need a right wide centre-back, and I think you've got a goalkeeper as well. It depends on the priorities and how you do that. Speaking of goalkeeper, right, and I think this one's going to annoy me. I'll be totally honest, I think this one's going to annoy me. We did our video looking at goalkeepers, and we looked at Senny Lemons from, where is he? His Belgian club, can't remember. Is it Antwerp? I think it's Antwerp. We looked at Jadon Sancho from Espanyol, and he just topped the list. We looked at all the stats and everything together, and from a data perspective, and the eye test as well, Jadon Sancho topped the list and has a €25 million release clause. It's just that kind of everything about him seemed like an ideal choice if United were to replace Onana, which I think they should be doing this summer. There hasn't really been any links between United and Jadon Sancho. And it seems weird, man, because everything I'm hearing about Garcia and Barcelona is that Barca will sign him and then loan him out loan him to another club for a year whilst they keep Ter Stegen. And then they've got what's his face? Chesney as well. Is he saying that? I don't even know. I don't know what their goalkeeper situation is. But it seems like he might go to Barca and agrees to get loaned out for another year. I don't really know. It's a bit weird. It's a bit odd. I just find it strange that there's no links with United there. You've got Rawsy saying, how is goalkeeper not a higher priority? The second they bring in a first-string goalie that can stop shots on a regular basis, the team improves dramatically. Well, it kind of, I think the penny dropped with me on that last season when you realise that if you just simply look at both ends of the pitch, you bring in somebody who scores more goals, and you bring in a goalkeeper who, stops them, You're going to gain immediate points. The points where you either score goals or you can see goals. The points that change games, that give you more points. So the Garcia one, I find it strange that United haven't really been linked with him at all. Apparently, Shezzy only came out of retirement to cover Ter Stegen's injury, so maybe he's gone. I don't really know. But I haven't seen United being linked with him yet. It's not impossible that we do, but it seems like Barca have got the upper hand. Although, and I don't know this, obviously Espanyol and Barcelona are local rivals, but do they deal with each other? Is it as bad as United setting to Liverpool? Or vice versa? I mean, it can't be because it's come this far. But I would expect, if I was an Espanyol fan, that I would love my club just to flip the bird at Barcelona and say, sod that, man. You're not selling to them. Sell to anyone else. You can't sell to them. I don't really know how it works. Busy Stacking saying, I prefer the old background ears. It's the OG stuff. It's fun, man. It goes to show you how far we've come. Anyway, this one, I think, has sort of irked quite a few United fans. The fact that we're not in for Cherki. We have been in for Cherki. Obviously, he came to Old Trafford for Lyon. He played well, but the team lost. He's a very good talent. I don't really understand how a player like him would be the right sort of fit for Pep Guardiola. Do you not look at that and think Cherki will probably end up doing a bit like what Grealish did? I don't really see that as a good fit for City. I think for 30 million, I think it's fair value. I think it might work, it might not work, and it won't be like a signing that hurts them. But yeah, Jonathan, I've said that the whole time. I think Cherki is a luxury signing that United can't afford right now. But don't know, it strikes me as a little bit of a weird one with Guardiola. I don't know. Let's find out. Anyway. This one is a little bit annoying. But again, I think the Euro deal last summer was one that we all loved. I think Euro was the hype point of last summer, wasn't it? Caught us all off guard. I think we actually had it at the live show where Ornstein dropped the bomb. And that was fun. No one expected it. We got the march. We paid for it. And you've seen Euro's development this season. I don't think anybody's looking at Euro going, oh, that was a bad signing. We're all looking at Euro going, yeah, man, nailed it. Now, Mastantuono is the 17-year-old from River Plate. And United have been linked with him. I think he's got a €50 million release clause. So for a player who plays currently in the South American League, it's a risk. But I would love, and maybe it still will happen, and it might be somebody else. You know, they might steal a march again on Mastantuono. But Fabrizio is reporting that PSG are looking to complete the deal. They've just won the treble. You can understand if he wants to go there. I'd love United to complete a Euro-style signing every summer. And I kind of thought that Mastantuono could have fallen into that category. Signing one of the best teenagers from world football, bringing them in, paying a pretty decent, 50 million for a 17-year-old from River Plate is, I think it would be their record sale by some margin. Looks like he's going PSG. So may well not be coming to United. Let's be honest. What else are you saying down here in the chat? Dylan saying, you think Cherki's a luxury signing, but says this guy is a miss. You'll have a good troll. Do you ever get bored of being trolls? Like, do you imagine how boring it must be, like, just being a troll in life? You know, somebody who just, like, joins a chat just to try and piss people off, just to try and get a reaction. I genuinely feel a bit sad for him, man. I do. I have to pity him. Right. Let's move on to a conversation I still don't want to have, but it's a conversation which clearly is a possibility. I think it was last week when I realised there is a genuine chance that Bruno does leave. And I'll just run through what the latest... I'll be totally honest. Majority of this is just the same conversation being repeated from 30 different angles. So I don't think there's anything particularly new for me to bring to you around the Bruno conversation. It was the exact same last week, right? Now, you've got Fabrizio saying that Al Hilal are prepared to match whatever United ask for. And I know there were people that were laughing at me when I said 150 mil. But I absolutely stand by what I said. 150 mil for Bruno. I don't come at me with logic. Don't come at me with anything this and that. I don't care. I won't listen to you. 150 mil. Sod that. 150 mil, and you've got to sign some Saudi team's got to sign Casemiro and Onana. Do those two things. Give us 150 mil. Cool. You can have him. I don't care. I know that Bruno's not worth that much in the market, but when it comes to the values of players, it's A, about how much the club who's signing them how much they want him, and B is how much you want. So I think 150 mil, somebody from Saudi, some other team in Saudi that's owned by the government, they sign Onana for 30 mil, and somebody signs Casemiro for 30 mil. Do those two things and give us 150 mil, then calm. Right, we'll take it. Remember 80 million last. I understand. Look, is there a possibility that selling Bruno, that we could look back at this in 2-3 years' time and go, that was the moment when United actually, the rebuild finally started? Yes, that is a possibility. We'll find out in the goodness of time, right? When we look back at it. I still don't want it to happen this summer. Bruno Fernandes next summer is a conversation? Yeah, maybe. But I don't want it to happen this summer. 80 million is genuinely an absolutely disrespectful offer. They're chancing it. That's all it is. That's not a realistic offer. Which is crazy to say for a 30-year-old, but this is Saudi money we're talking about. They just spent 70 mil on John Duran. Maybe that's a poor comparison. Didn't they pay like 100 mil for bloody Neymar, who was effectively a cripple by the time he went over there? Emmanuel saying, did you see the video of Bruno making a pinky promise to a fan that he's not leaving United? Look, I've seen the video. I've seen the photos over the weekend saying, oh, Bruno Fernandes pictured with João Cancelo from Al Hilal. Yeah, he also plays for Portugal, lads. It's nuts. You got Laurie Whitwell saying, look, he's considering it. And I think it's obvious at this point that he is considering it. But I will stand by my opinion that I gave you last week. Bruno doesn't want to leave. Amorim doesn't want Bruno to leave. If the board above put pressure. If the board say to Amorim, say to Bruno, look, we need to accept this offer. We need this money. Then Bruno will be like, okay, I'll leave. If the club asks Bruno to leave, he will leave. He won't push his way out the door. And I think it was last week where I just started to realise that, mate, and this is maybe in the back of my mind, I always knew this about the Europa League final. That was more than a final for United. It may well be that losing the Europa League means that United have got to sell their captain. I don't think we have to if we do everything else right in the summer window. Selling Rashford, selling Sancho, selling Garnacho, selling Anthony, Casemiro, Shaw, Malacia. Those 7 players there, easily 150 mil, if not more. But can United be trusted to do that? Can we find clubs that actually want to pay that money for those players? I don't quite know. It's kind of the problem. Samir is saying basically Saudis pay 400 mil and you can take Bruno, Casemiro, Anthony and Garnacho. Sort them however you want. That sounds like a great idea to me. That sounds like a great offer to me. If they want to take the piss asking 80 million for Bruno Fernandes, then we take the piss back. All right, cool. Exactly what you said there. 400 million, you can sign 5 of our players. And one of them is Bruno Fernandes. Make it a two-way street. Look, this is what Ben Jacobs said last night. Remember the Ben Jacobs, and fair play to Ben Jacobs, and this is always the case with Ben. His sources out in the Middle East are his strongest. That's why we had the conversations on the live show. I wasn't live shows. I think I had like 3 or 4 conversations with Ben around the Qatari takeover, and I found them really interesting. And then he just started going on the United stand, and it started getting a little bit. I was like, so then I just stopped talking with him. That's just the truth on Ben. But he definitely has got sources out in the Middle East. So he's saying that Al now believe that an agreement with Bruno Fernandes is close after positive meetings. They want the answer by Friday. So by the sounds of it, ladies and gents, this week, we're either going to get a live show on here that Bruno Fernandes is staying or Bruno Fernandes is leaving. And I think you know how my mood will change between those two. I've never sat on the fence around Bruno. I understand that you think that this is when the reboot. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think we should be doing that this summer. I think it's a very dangerous game, given everything else that we are already doing this summer. And I don't know whether it will work or not. And let's be honest, you can't trust Ineos to spend that money correctly. Neither can I. They've already got to make 5 big signings, let alone what happens with Bruno. I've got no idea. Oh, man. This feels like the most appropriate thing in the world. Gungshi is just gifted 50. And Gungshi, I love you, man. I can't reach it because you can't see it. The gong is taking a special place in a new part of the studio, which you will see tomorrow. So I can't give it a tickle. The gong, that is. Let's not get crazy, people. Thank you so much, man. Thank you to everyone. All of you get in Discord. Come on, get in the Discord. Make it rain in there, man. Make it rain. But Bruno, yeah, either way, I think there's going to be a live show this week. Either he stays or he goes. And I'll be here. Either way. You know exactly what I want to happen. And it's not Bruno leaving. But you know exactly what I want to happen here. You know what my prediction is? I think Jadon Sancho is returning to Manchester United. I think that Chelsea are going to pay because right now, this is the latest from Fabrizio, right? Chelsea remain in contact with Jadon Sancho's camp over contract terms. There's no agreement on the salary. The final decision will be in a few days. If it's not agreed on, Sancho will go back to United with £5 million compensation. Basically, what's happening is Chelsea are sitting down. Obviously, they're going to be phrasing it differently, but sitting down there going, Sancho, you are crap, mate. I mean, you're all right. You're good enough that we'll keep you, but there's no way that you're earning that wage at this club anymore. United overpaid you. Let's agree, whatever it might be, right? 50% wage drop. Sod knows what it is. But it's the reality check for Sancho. It's the reality check for Sancho. Does Sancho at this point still, and this could really happen, and it really could happen. He could say, "No, sod that. These are my wages. I'm keeping them." If that happens, boom, he gets booted back to United. And the issue then is we've got to deal with it. And the same issue would happen at United, because you can come in here and say, "Oh, actually, Sam, this will work out better for United because we'll get $5 million from Chelsea, and then we'll go and sell him and then make X amount of money." Yeah, but then we'll run into the same problems. You know, when we tried to sell Maguire to West Ham, and he wouldn't move unless the difference in the wages was covered by United. United said no. Maguire didn't move. Pretty much the same thing that will happen with Sancho if he comes back. I hope he gains some sort of awareness. Like, know how good you are. Know your value and your worth, and understand that you've not performed. And a wage cut is fair. If he does that, hopefully he stays at Chelsea. And then it's not our problem. I really don't want him back at the club. I don't want us to have to deal with everything that we've got on this summer, having to try and find a bloody club. Because we would have to go effectively like Jehovah's Witness, like knocking on doors, trying to find a club for Jadon Sancho. I don't know how long he's left on his contract. I've got no idea. Let me see what you're saying down here. It's sad. I think he could be used as one of the number 10s. Sancho made his decisions at United. He's never coming back to the club, and I don't want him back at the club. Just, look at that. A bit random. Right, this is coming out from the Spanish newspapers, so I don't know how absolutely accurate this is, but seeing as we had a little conversation about him earlier, feels appropriate to bring this up. You've got news breaking from Spain that Jadon Sancho has accepted Barca's proposal and he'll sign a deal. I thought that could have been the perfect replacement for Onana. If United sold Onana for around 25 million and brought him in for 25 million euros, I think that would have been perfect. It looks like he's going Barcelona. Bar humbug. We move on. What else are you saying down here? He's burnt his bridges. Mate, he didn't just burn his bridges. Well, he did. He just burned them all down. I don't want him anywhere near our football club. JP saying, thanks for trying to be positive. The amount of whinging and moaning other channels are doing is affecting my mental health. Well, United affect your mental health. But let me just improve your mental health. 47 days. That's how long you've got to before you got to watch United again. Look, people keep messaging me about it. It's just like, everybody knows the position of Brent and how he does content. Probably for about, I didn't watch it, probably for like 2-3 weeks. I guarantee he was moaning that United were in for Delap and we shouldn't be signing relegated strikers. And then probably as soon as Chelsea signed him, oh my God, it's a shambles that United can't even get Delap and this. And it was just make your mind up. But that's the position. The position is anger. And I've told you, it's so the easiest thing you can do in life is just be angry with something and just spew it. Doesn't matter if you're a hypocrite over time, because that's the currency of the internet. Sancho, get out of my club, man. And then Garnacho is a conversation. Yeah, Chevalier, there's a goalkeeper that could be mentioned. It might not be Garcia. We'll find out. But Garnacho, like this annoys me. This does annoy me. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I know, right? I know that Garnacho has not he's not developed in the maturity sense in the way that we wanted him to this season. His output was very good in terms of chance creation, but in terms of putting the chances away, it just wasn't there. But the idea that Alejandro Garnacho will be sold for £40 million, it just takes the piss. Like I pulled up, it was it Max Kilman went from Wolves to West Ham for 40 million. And Foxy, this is an opinion I think a lot of United fans would have, and I think this is exactly why someone like Napoli will go in for him. Doesn't matter, 40 mil, get rid. I know he's worth more, but just get rid. And that's probably why this happens. And right, I've seen this, okay? And this is something I've also been annoyed about. You're saying this is what happens when it becomes public knowledge that the manager has binned you off. And I've seen people trying to have a go at Amorim for that. Did Amorim have that conversation with Garnacho in public? Or did he have that conversation with Garnacho with his team at Carrington inside a room? The leaks did that. It wasn't Amorim throwing him under the bus in public. And I've already ran through and done that video. I saw what was posed to Amorim after the final, and he was saying, well, actually, a couple of weeks ago, you were telling me that Mount shouldn't be starting, but now Mount did this, and he was just comparing players. Amorim, it's just... It's just, there is so much... When it comes to United this summer, man, like Rashford, we know we need to sell him, but he's on 300-odd-K a week. Like, we're going to struggle to find a suitor for that. Garnacho, we know now that he's fallen out with Ruben Amorim. Clubs will take advantage of that. I don't think we'll struggle to find a club to sell Garnacho to, but I think we might struggle to get the price. Maybe we're going to get a bigger sell on. I don't quite know. Jadon Sancho. literally might be coming back to the club after Chelsea pay $5 million not to have him. And then we're going to be lumbered with his wages. So you might have Rashford, Sancho. Luke Shaw's going to be a conversation as well. United in an ideal world, I think, would love to loan Shaw out next season for a full season, wages covered, with an obligation to sign him. I don't think anybody would be foolish enough to pay money up front for Shaw because of his injury problems. But wages is going to be an issue. Casemiro, even if you're not, wages is going to be an issue. It's the same thing. You could repeat it like five times over for players that should be leaving our club, but we're going to struggle because of the wages. Doesn't really exist with Garnacho. The wages won't be a problem. But the other problem exists in the fact that everyone knows that he's kind of fallen out with the club. Let's see what he's saying down here. If Sancho returns, the only option for United is another loan. I don't think that's strictly true. We can't loan Sancho out again, man. Sod that. Like, we can't loan Anthony out again. Anthony, look, Real Betis want to sign him, but won't be able to afford to sign him. I don't think we'll struggle to find a club for Anthony. I don't know how much the price would be for Anthony. Totally honest, I don't know the price. I know what I'll run through my prices in my lunchtime video for like my dream summer. Spoiler alert: Sancho, Garnacho, Anthony, and Rashford are all going to be sold. I've got no idea what the prices are going to be. None. I know what I think they're worth. I think Rashford's 40 million is a underpriced, if I'm being totally honest. I think Garnacho for 40 million is underpriced, I'll be totally honest. But I think that might well be the case. Anthony, I've got no idea how much he's going to go for. I know how much I'd like to get. Don't know how much he'd actually go for. And then Sancho is just like, give us a half pack of hobnobs, man. You can have him. Malacia, I don't know whether PSV are going to be signing Malacia. As I said, this is for tomorrow. This is for the whiteboards, which are all ready to go. You haven't seen them yet, but I'm just not launching them yet. Let me see what else is being said down here and whether I've missed any news. If you want to fire any comments, anything you want me to talk about, I still will. We've got a few minutes left in the show, haven't we? Yeah, we do. Let me see when Sancho's contract expires. I think that's a fair comment. Sancho, transfer mark. Right, let's have a look at this. Block those notifications and get out. When does his contract with United set? Contract at United expires next summer. So 1 year left on a... Mate, we're not getting much for Jadon Sancho at all. 1 year left on his contract when he comes to the club. Maybe there might be an option to extend. You know, typically when United do that, we do like 5+1. So like the Cunha deal. I imagine it's 5+1, isn't it? Doesn't actually say. I'm pretty sure it's 5+1. So I imagine the same thing happens with Sancho. So his contract will expire next summer, but will have the year option on top. So I don't think he'll be a free. So technically he'd be like, he's got 2 years left on the contract. I don't think he'll leave on a free. I mean, he could. Hey, that could happen actually, couldn't it? United just get lumbered with a player that nobody wants to sign, and he just sees his contract out because money is the most important thing for him. And you're saying Manu is an issue that must be dealt with now. I have to say I'm a little bit concerned, I suppose, is a fair way to describe it. I'm concerned that the Manu contract conversations have been going on this long and aren't resolved. I think the Bruno situation will probably play into how I would expect Manu's next season to pan out. Because if Bruno leaves, I think the importance of Manu increases in terms of central midfield. Because then what you would do is sign somebody, I don't know, like, I've seen the name being linked quite a lot and I can understand why, like Carlos Baleba from Brighton. And the idea of having a midfield duo, if Bruno was to go, of Baleba alongside Manu, like turning Manu into that. Remember the Manu that we saw originally at United? The one who made the debut away at Everton. He was receiving the ball from the defenders first and doing it very, very well. I've kept saying again and again that I feel that Manu's best position is closer to the opposition's goal. And I still stand by it, but I've kind of been saying the same thing about Bruno, and I kind of chop and change. And maybe Manu gets developed into not a deep number 6, but that ball progressor from deep. Maybe that is Mainoo's future. Maybe that is where it lies. Don't quite know. Stevie saying there is a factor we have to consider. It's a World Cup year. No player wants to be out in the cold. Many players will accept moves to play. I think that's partly the reason why Liam Delap wanted Chelsea, I think. More opportunities in there for the England World Cup. I'll be honest, I don't know why you go Chelsea. They've got 900 bloody players there. Probably get more chance than United. Anyway, Mainoo at Anfield was superb. Hey, look. I don't know the future of Mainoo, but if Bruno was to leave, I think and maybe this is... I'm just... Is this devil's advocate? I suppose I'm just kind of thinking how United might be thinking. United might be looking at it and going, right, with the Bruno money, we can do X, X, and X. And if Mainoo was to then play in one of those central midfield positions, then we could focus on signing a perfect partner for Mainoo. And maybe that can be our midfield duo. Obviously, you've got Ugarte in there, who's more of the ball destroyer. Ball destroyer? Not actually destroying balls. But he's there to break up play. And that is Ugarte. It's what he's good at. But he does have his limitations, and we've known that. That's why PSG signed João Neves. But anybody who looked at João Neves, I guarantee if you go back last summer, so many people would have thought, you can't possibly sign a defensive midfielder the size of João Neves because he's going to be too small. He won't win all the duels. And you've seen how impressive he is. His centre of gravity definitely works. Right, let me see what you're saying down here. Kobe could be developed into a Vitinha. Man, it was ridiculous how good PSG's midfield was, wasn't it? They're all so confident. And the sphere, you're saying Bruno Fernandes cannot be replaced, and it's the exact thing I said earlier. Like, if Bruno leaves, you won't see a video on this channel saying replacing Bruno Fernandes, because it's not possible. The question is, how do Manchester United spend X amount of money that we've gained by selling Bruno? How do you replace the things that Bruno brought to the team? Well, you sign somebody who's going to bring more of a goal threat. You sign someone else who's going to bring more of a goal threat. And you make sure that they have got that leadership characteristic in them. And Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha both strike me as those types of signings. That's the wrong one. Cunha and Mbeumo. I don't know a better way to describe it. It's just like two fully grown men ready to take on the mantle of being examples for others to follow at United. And that's what Bruno Fernandes has been for a long time. Whether he's the example that, I don't know, you might be in the Roy Keane camp. I don't know why he would be after the season that he just had. But Cunha and Mbeumo would replace not just goals, but I really do think there's a possibility that we sell Bruno now. I do. And I think if he goes, I've already said it a million times, I think if he goes, it's because of an instruction from above. The club saying, yeah, we need this money. And then Bruno will be like, all right, I'll go. So it may well be that Bruno ends up being the sacrificial lamb for the rebuild. I don't know. Again, I don't know the right way to describe it. What else are you saying down here? Bruno's replaceable. He's aging. And Bruno isn't replaceable. It's just not. He just really isn't. Not in one individual. Of course, if you get X amount of money and you spend it really well, but then you've got so many variables and so many, okay, right, you can get 150 mil for Bruno and then you can sign 3 players that do this and do that, and then that's going to bring in this. Yeah, you can't replace Bruno with an individual. It's just not possible. Yeah, we need people who don't allow themselves to get bullied. It's a good way to describe it there. If Bruno leaves, I'll be holding a candlelit vigil outside the Stretford end. I don't want him to leave, not this summer. Next summer, I think is a conversation that could absolutely be had. But in the summer where so much change is going to be happening to the squad, I would like to keep my captain and my talisman. Probably the only player that I could say that he gave everything and actually performed in the last 3-4 months of that season. It is what it is, right? Thank you all for tuning in today. And can I just say, if this is the only time, maybe I can bring back the OG studio. We can bring this back. But fingers crossed tomorrow, we're ready to properly launch with, what would it be? Version 1 of United People's TV was this, the OG studio. Version 2 of United People's TV was the background we had, where we had the little stand with the shirts and the artwork behind us. That was UPTV 2.0. UPTV 3.0 was the temporary one I've just had. A little bit a far closer studio. So this will be 4.0. And version 4, United are winning a title when I'm in this studio. That's all I'm saying. United are winning a title. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm glad that technically everything's worked. That was a worry of mine. So the major move has changed. It's happened. I'll be back here at lunchtime today. My lunchtime video is going to be my dream summer window. All the signings I want us to make. And all the sales. And how much I think that would cost. It's always a big video. Well, I'll do it once a summer. Thank you all for tuning in. Big up to all of you. To Gungshi for gifting 50. And to everybody else who gifted today. You're all legends. I'll see you tomorrow. And I'll say this one more time. 47 days until you have to watch United again. That should put a smile on your face. Take it easy.